Welcome back to Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin here at our Restoration Nation. Today, I'm finally back in Natchez, Mississippi, and I'm getting into a house that I've wanted to see inside of for years. Come along with me. In the historic river city of Natchez, Mississippi, grand mansions and famous estates often capture the spotlight. But just as important to the story of this remarkable town are the homes of the people who built and sustained its thriving community. One such place is the William Ailes House, also known historically as Belleview, a modest yet fascinating example of mid-19th century architecture in Natchez. Its facade faces the Mississippi River and features a symmetrical 5-bay arrangement centered around the main entrance. The doorway is framed by classical details, including pilasters and molded trim, offering a restrained elegance typical of the period. A defining feature of the house is its full-width front gallery, which stretches across the facade and sits tucked neatly beneath the slope of the roof rather than projecting outward as a separate porch. This integrated gallery is characteristic of homes in the lower Mississippi Valley, providing shade and outdoor living space during the region's long, hot summers. Above, the roof line is punctuated by two unusual gabled dormers distinguished by pilasters and beveled corners. These dormers are considered particularly rare and may be unique within Natchez itself. The home was built by Thomas Bowen, a master carpenter based in Natchez and one of the region's skilled builders. Masonry work was completed by the firm of Reynolds & Brown, contractors who also worked on prominent local buildings such as Stanton Hall and Institute Hall. Together, their craftsmanship produced a house that reflected both practical construction methods and the refined influences of the Greek Revival style that dominated American architecture during the mid-1800s. Unlike the grand suburban villas often associated with Natchez, the William Ailes House represents something different. It illustrates the architecture of the working and middle classes, people who lived close to the river and whose livelihoods were tied directly to commerce and trade. Architecturally, the house is a 1.5-story brick residence designed in a square Greek Revival form. Like I said, I'm finally back in Natchez, Mississippi after months being away. And as a special treat for me, Kevin managed to get me inside of the William Ailes House, a house that I have wanted to get a peek inside of since we moved here 5 years ago. But I want to start on the front porch with you to show you this incredible 1852 Greek Revival style home and the amazing original elements that remain in this property. Now, you know that our very own Hope Farm has a gorgeous ashlar block exterior, and so does this house. The facade of these homes was so often done in ashlar block scoring, which was meant to mimic the great stately homes of Britain that could use actual stone. We don't have the stone here in the Mississippi Valley to accommodate the actual stone blocks that it would take to create this stacked stone look. So what do? We do a stuccoed front and we score it to give it the look of stone. If you'll notice, we have a 5-bay exterior and this gorgeous Greek Revival frontispiece. All of these windows have their original wavy glass. Let's go inside and take a look at this incredible property. Now, for the last several decades, 4 or 5 decades, this property has served as a business. It's been an antique store, it's been a restaurant, but the possibilities are incredible with it. It does sit on a busy intersection, Canal and John R. Junkin. However, I'll take you outside in a little bit and I'll show you the incredible grounds and the amazing mature trees that surround it. So even as you sit on this incredibly busy intersection, you feel beautifully secluded. I want to show you this entryway. Now, this looks like a beautiful paneled space. One might be fooled into thinking that this is original panel work from the 1850s, although the style isn't quite right. You might think, hey, this looks pretty good. It is good, and it is old, but these are actually doors that have been used to create this panel work. You know, because I can see where the doorknob used to be on one of these doors, but it really gives a gorgeous, high-style space in what would have been a very informal space originally. I wouldn't change it. I think it shows how the home evolves over time. Let's go into the front parlor. I can't help but look at all of the beautiful windows in this room. They all have their stunning 1850s wavy glass. That is such a treasure. It is so rare to find these homes with their original blown glass windows. So I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the beautiful wavy glass, and I'm distracted by this little piece. I know I'm not here to shop. I'm not. I'm here to show you the house. But the last time this house was used, it was an antique store. And this is a great little piece of probably 30s lusterware, transferware, and it was $12. So I'm very, very tempted to leave $12 on the mantle and leave this place with this little creamer or sugar. But what I really wanted to show you in this room is this beautiful early Greek Revival style mantle. You can tell that when this house was built, although it is in the Greek Revival style, we have the ashlar block scoring, this was not a high style home. Most of the homes here in Natchez are what we call suburban villas. Natchez gets accused of being a town of plantation homes very frequently, but that's not the case at all. These weren't plantations. These were suburban villas. Yes, the people who owned the homes typically had plantations, had farms outside of the city, but these were their city dwellings. They built these huge, grand, palatial homes to show off their wealth that was in fact amassed by enslaved labor on their plantations, but in a city setting, so they could have company, they could travel, they could have neighbors, they could have parties and be very close to one another. This home, however, where it sits today, we're a 1-minute drive from downtown Natchez. But if we were in 1850, it would take an hour to get from here to downtown Natchez. And so this really was a little bit out of the city. Our own Hope Farm is being described as being out of the city and less convenient. And so the details in the home are not nearly as high style as those suburban villas that we see just what is 2-3 miles up the road for us today. So we see a very beautiful, very traditional, modestly styled Greek Revival mantelpiece in this room. I wanted to show you something in this hallway. This house has a number of these pieces that I think are some of the most evocative pieces in these historic homes. Pieces that really show the true wear of 170 years of history that we have in this home. And these are these thresholds that pass between the front entryway into the formal parlor and the family parlor. If you'll look at them, they are significantly worn. You'll see they're a little bit raised. So over 170 years, every foot, both owner and servant that has crossed this threshold, restaurant guests, antique store guests, everyone who has passed through this home, their foot has just clipped these thresholds. And over 170 years, these thresholds have been worn with that footwear pattern, that tread pattern, worn smooth over time and have started to minimize in. And I love these. To me, this is what makes a historic home an absolutely priceless piece of tangible history. Well, look at the expanse of this room. Again, another window with incredible wavy glass, this gorgeous early mantelpiece. You can see this little bit of a Gothic arch. This is a very popular style during the Greek Revival period here in Natchez. But this room is enormous, so I'm trying to look and see if there's any evidence that this was once 2 rooms. Now, there's a patch in the floor right here that runs about halfway through the room, but the other side of these boards where the patch is appear to be original, and there doesn't appear to be any patchwork on the other side. So it doesn't really look like this is a ghost mark of an old wall or an old divider. I could be wrong, but this does look like perhaps this was one expansive space.
The house was constructed between 1853 and 1854 for William Ailes, a local drayman whose work involved transporting goods along the bustling Mississippi riverfront. At the time, Natchez was one of the most active commercial centers in the South, and tradesmen like Ailes played a crucial role in keeping the city's economy moving. Inside the house follows a double-pile floor plan, a typical layout of Greek Revival cottages of the mid-19th century. A central passage runs through the middle of the house, widening into a full room at the rear. On either side of the passage are symmetrical front and rear rooms, while smaller spaces on the sides are known as cabinets, and they provide additional functioning areas. Historical records provide remarkable insight into the house's construction. Probate documents from William Ailes' estate include an accounting prepared by builder Thomas Bowen, detailing expenses for lumber and construction materials. These records offer a rare glimpse into the financial realities of building a home in Antebellum, Natchez, highlighting the collaboration between carpenters, masons, and craftspeople who shaped the city's built landscape. William Ailes didn't enjoy the home for long. He died in 1856, just a few years after construction was completed. During the 20th century, the house experienced a number of changes. By the 1960s, it had been converted into a gift shop, and portions of the rear gallery were enclosed to create additional space. Despite these alterations, the core structure and many original features survived. Today, the William Ailes House stands as a reminder that Natchez's history is not only told through its grand mansions, but also through homes like this one. Built by skilled local craftsmen for a hard-working riverfront tradesman, it reflects a different but equally important chapter in the city's story. Recognized for its architectural significance, the house was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1980. In a city celebrated for its architectural treasures, the William Ailes House quietly tells the story of the everyday people who helped build Natchez and the enduring craftsmanship that still stands today.
had to bring you out here to show this incredible mature growth that's in this yard that gives you such a feeling of seclusion. Of course, you have the ubiquitous cedar trees that are just almost synonymous with these homes here in Natchez, Mississippi and throughout the South. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but the cedar trees were actually believed to clean the air. Here by the Mississippi River, where yellow fever was such a plague every single year, there were hundreds of people who died from the yellow fever epidemic. They thought it was from miasma, from bad air, and the cedar trees were thought to clean the air. So planting cedar trees around your house was thought to help with the spread of yellow fever. Obviously, now we know that isn't true, but that's one of the reasons we have these glorious century-plus-old cedar trees surrounding all of these properties. And these beautiful Camellia japonicas that have been brought in here. These became all the rage about 100 years ago, and on our own property we have a number of them, and you'll see them throughout town. This property is absolutely surrounded by these, so they're going to help shield you both from the sight of Canal Street and the sound of Canal Street, and give you such a feeling of privacy and beauty to enjoy all year. These are evergreen, so you have gorgeous lush green all year, and they usually start their bloom around January. So in Natchez, Mississippi, we have flowers all year long. Take a look at the huge expansive yard that you have here right in the middle of town. Well, thank you for joining me today on the beautiful Camellia Field grounds of the William Ailes House here in Natchez, Mississippi. Now, as always, we're going to remind you that we are not real estate agents. We don't represent this property. We don't guarantee it in any way. And we also can't tell you any of the details about the property itself. I'm not going to tell you how old the air conditioning is or what condition the roof is in. That's the job for the realtor. And you can find her link in the Zillow description below. We'd love to have you join us here as neighbors here in Natchez, Mississippi. Thank you for joining us on Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin, and we will see you next time.